Good evening, Choctaw. It is September 6th, and welcome to episode 2 of the Choctaw Experience. As always, I am the Mr. Crowder, and with me today is Mr. Bass and Mr. James. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, doing well.
Glad to be with you.
Okay, so let's talk about this week in review. Most importantly, there's a special birthday out there, so I'm going to say happy birthday, and you know who you are, then I'm wishing you a happy birthday. If you don't know who you are, then it's probably not your birthday.
I'm assuming that's the missus.
Yes, the missus.
Good call, good call.
We're actually going to get a chocolate piñata tonight.
Oh, nice.
I don't know what one is. We will talk about that next week, the
describe
experience
what
of a
happened
chocolate piñata.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
That's what's going to happen here.
Nice. So let's look at the last
Keep sure
week.
the weather's below like 90 whenever it goes to destroy that chocolate piñata.
Well, I think it's an indoor piñata thing.
Gotcha.
It's at a restaurant.
Sounds messy. Yeah.
So let's shoot it over to Mr. James here. Let's look at last week, how things were. Because we're up in the booth, you're down in the field in the area. How things went at the football game, first football game last Friday night. What was your perspective down from there?
I thought it was great. It was fun all the way around. It was great to get to see the excitement from the student body as well as just from the all of the fans. I mean, anytime you're down on that field and you turn around and you get to see those stands, it's just amazing to me how crowded, the amount of people there, how much support we have from the community. So it was absolutely just great to get to see that. And then beyond that, the game was a lot of fun. Students really performed well. Offensively did just a lot of incredible things. Defensively held them to a shutout in the first half, and really, the score wasn't indicative of even how well they played. So just a fun game to get a win. I know you guys put a lot of time and energy and effort into it as well, and know that that's appreciated. There's not many high schools around the state that get to have their games televised, and then beyond that, to get to have the color commentary and all the fun things that go into it. So
yeah, Mr. James was referring to me for color commentary.
Yes.
Yeah. You're the color, right?
I try.
And I think Mr. Dooley's the commentary.
He's the commentary.
Yeah,
that's how it was.
I think that's
Yeah,
how it
it's
goes.
we bought this third headset, and I tried to get in some words, and then it was just kind of like, when do I get in? When can I get in?
Dooley is the master. He's the pro.
So this year, you're providing input as well.
I jumped on this year for the first game and gave some insights. And
so
stuff.
color commentary.
Yeah.
Plus Adam.
Mr.
Bass.
Yes.
Yeah. And a lot of it is, I work. I'm the one that works the most closely with the coaches. With Coach Corbin's show, and we got them coming in here in a little bit. So I know kind of the inside of different things that most people don't. So I try to share that.
What I was most impressed with was not what was on the field last week, that the student section literally made the stadium move and bounce and sway.
Yeah, we were rocking up there.
It was a large crowd, and so that was what I was most impressed with.
I really thought last year would be the best student section that Choctaw had ever had. I just did. There was a great group of seniors, and just with how well Dustin Johnson coordinates that, I really thought that would be best. And then I came to the game this year, and I realized that so far this year's been better. We have a great group of seniors, and that leadership team is just amazing. And then when you put that with Mr. Johnson and Stuco and all that they've got going on, I mean, I'm telling you, we've been to stadiums around the state, and there's nowhere else that has that kind of student impact. Not just supporting their school, but even that to have an impact on the game. I mean, they are cheering. I mean, there's no doubt that they are for Choctaw, and it pumps those players up, pumps everybody up. So a lot of fun. And cheer and palm. Don't want to leave cheer and palm and band and ROTC, everyone that's either up in the stands or on the track or somewhat involved. It really is a production. So it's fun to go to.
All right, I see just coming in the door are a couple.
Well, before we do that,
okay.
I got some randomness. We got Mr. James here. It made me reminisce of a skit we did a couple years ago with Colton Ragland and Dylan Herron, and it was probably one of the most entertaining scripts I got to write for that one. And the premise was Colton Ragland believed that Mr. James had a double life, and he was actually 007 Mr. James Bond.
Okay,
So to pose the question, we got several questions. Let's start with the best James Bond actor. Who would you think is the best? Who played James Bond the best? There's 6 actors that played James Bond thus far.
Okay, and we're going to do that right now?
I guess you could count David Niven if you want to go with the original Casino Royale, but we won't Yeah, let's do that right now.
Right now? Okay.
Yeah. So James Bond, Best Actor, Mr. Crowder. Who do you got?
Just the best James Bond?
Yeah, best overall.
Does Chris Pratt, did he ever play James Bond?
He's never played James Bond.
Okay, so it's not him.
It's not him.
So my second choice is Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
Yes, Sean Connery.
Very first James Bond after David Niven. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'll take this one, and I'll let Mr. James answer his. And Sean Connery is a great one. But growing up, I like the comedy side of the James Bond movies, and the one that was the one-line king was Roger Moore.
Okay.
He was the funniest one for me, so I enjoyed his little antics.
Yeah.
And a lot of his stuff was ad-lib, too.
Okay.
So, Mr. James Bond, what do you got?
Well, I'll tell you, this really hits, close to home with me, Mr. James. And so the most, the best Mr. James Bond, it's tough. I think that, if you want to say my favorite, I like Daniel Craig, kind of the more recent stuff, kind of hits home more, more exciting. The movies are better. But I think the best James Bond, let's just go by the total number of movies that they acted. I think it's Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Old school, it's old school, and so there's a lot to be said of that. There's kind of the aura that goes around him, but I would have to say Sean Connery is the best, although possibly now of the James Bond movies I've seen, I probably prefer the newer ones with Daniel Craig.
Let's go into that. Which one has been your favorite James Bond movie? Best James Bond movie. What do you got?
I have it in my head. I couldn't remember the title. Sean Connery's in it.
Okay.
It's got a Russian submarine.
It's not From Russia with Love.
It's not that one. It's
Okay.
a Russian submarine.
You only live twice?
And it's defecting to the U.S.
Okay.
I think that's the difference.
Hunt for Red October. That's it.
The Hunt for Red October.
That's not the James Bond movie.
Oh.
Okay.
That's a Jack Ryan movie.
Jack Ryan. Okay.
Sean Connery was the Russian.
Okay.
So we can't.
So
use
I like that one. So not James. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. There's Hitler. Okay.
Hitler.
And there's Zeppelin in it, where they're flying in a Zeppelin.
That's Indiana Jones.
I think that's Indiana Jones. I think that's
okay.
Do you want me to go with mine, and then you can kind of figure yours out?
What's the?
I'm going the classic Goldfinger.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah.
Okay. What's that one James Bond with Simba in it, and he's trying to take, the king of the jungle?
That's Lion King.
Oh, Lion King.
James Earl Jones. That's James
Earl
Jones. James Earl Jones.
Yeah. Okay, my fault.
So obviously,
okay, I got mine.
Okay.
I'm going to go again just because of the recentness of it, and I think it's the last one I've seen. So that may have an impact as well.
Yeah.
But I liked Skyfall.
That's a good one.
Right, was that the most recent one with Dan?
Not
there may
quite.
be another
there was
one.
Another
it was
one,
yeah, that's right.
That, but
okay,
yeah, that was definitely one.
It was good though.
Yeah, that was a very good one.
Yeah, very good.
So my real favorite.
Okay,
my real favorite is GoldenEye, and the reason why it's GoldenEye is because not only is it a good movie, but it also became an awesome Nintendo video game that revolutionized multiplayer first-person shooters, and also had a golden gun in it, which was everybody's favorite. It wraps up this whole movie thing. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. But what about villain? Best villain.
Well, that's easy. Although you're going to bust me on it.
Yeah. Is it actually from a James Bond
movie? Nah, it's one of my other favorite movies, Jaws.
Well, Jaws is in Moonraker. So technically that counts.
Then
Mr.
I win.
Klein is Jaws. He's a big 7-foot man with the big giant metal teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going Blofeld because he's the guy that pet the cat. He had the white cat, and he'd just be a villain with the white cat. And you only live twice. He was like the original Spectre villain.
Okay.
And he's coming back for the next one, Blofeld.
Okay. Now that's not Austin Powers, is it?
That's kind of where they base that character off of.
Yeah. And also in Inspector Gadget, the bad guy in Inspector Gadget.
Yes, he's got a cat too. Yeah. So that's why I'm going with Blofeld, the guy that originated evil with a cat.
There's the guy with the hat.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah, that's a Goldfinger.
Yeah. What was it? Short Round?
Short Round, yeah. We'll go with it. Short. No. I know his name was Professor something. He's Professor something in that one. But what about Bond Girl? I'm going with the original. Dr. No, Ursula Andress. She's the one that kicked it all off.
This one,
it's tough.
It's tough. I'm thinking of. I think it was Thunderball.
Thunderball.
I think I don't remember her name at all.
I don't know.
I think the female actress in Thunderball sticks in my mind.
Yeah, because I like the ones that kind of mix it up and fight.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I think coaches are ready for us.
Okay.
So let's kick it on over there.
All right. We got to get off the mics and let the coaches have the mics. And so we'll be back after the coaches show.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Welcome once again to the Coach Corbin Show. Joining us this week is Cy Stallard, the offensive coordinator. So obviously we're talking, this being a bye week, we're going to have just a focus on offense this week. Next week, I've already talked to Coach Bryant. He'll be in for talk about defense. So, Coach Corbin, let's just recap the game from a coaching standpoint as a whole.
Sure.
What do we get with Shawnee?
Yeah, anytime you play a week 0 game, and for those of you guys that aren't familiar, typically we would have 2 scrimmages rather than 1 to lead into the season opener.
Right.
So we have replaced the second scrimmage with an actual game, and so when you're doing that, you're always holding your breath a little bit on special teams and some different things, just because you really haven't had an opportunity to polish as much as you would like to.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going live really before you're really used to doing it each year. But for a week 0 game, I was really pleased. I was really pleased with our kids' performance, how they executed. I was really pleased with how our staff got our kids ready to roll on both sides of the ball, and special teams as well ended up being a difference for us. So, obviously a lot of things to improve upon anytime you played that early in the season, but for a week 0 game, really, really pleased.
All right, yeah. So, and again, we got a bye week this week, lot night coming up next week. So Coach, let's talk about the offense, or we'll talk about some of the things that you saw on offense specifically that you really maybe didn't expect to see.
Yeah, I think the retention of and cleanliness of how we played kind of was surprising to me. There wasn't a lot of bust. A lot of guys knew what they were doing, going the right places, and it showed with how quickly we jumped on them.
Okay, yeah. So we took it to the air, we took it to the ground, had success everywhere. So that's always fun.
Open up a bag of tricks, the full deal, and Coach Tyler's done an awesome job, with the offense. And if you came out and watched us, you saw us doing a lot of different things. We ran only ran the same play out of almost 80 plays, maybe 3 times, and so we ran a lot of things at them, and it was really clean. Who kind of stood out for you? Some of the guys that maybe surprised you a little bit going into week 0.
Yeah, I think Thad Williams. That might have been one of the cleanest games he's played.
Great, for sure.
Really proud of that guy. Stepped up into kind of that quarterback role like we needed him to. Deshaun Moore pounded that thing all night long and played really hard and had some good runs. Gabe Johnson had over 100 yards of total offense. You could see him come up on special teams offense and every now and then defense too.
Yeah. Okay. So some of the preparation on a 0, you had 0 week, now you got a bye week.
Yep.
So how do you prepare for this next game?
I don't know if there's a magic formula. Kind of a year ago, we ground them pretty hard during this week off. And this year we've decided to do a little bit different. We've kind of started getting caught up on what we feel like getting caught up in the weight room again, our conditioning again, just trying to add some wrinkles to hopefully have some solutions to future problems with both our offense and our defense. Right. And in our kind of our theme internally, like I said last week on last week's show with the coaches and the kids, just go 1-0. Just go 1-0. Because we almost have the same amount of time practice-wise going into that game against Shawnee as we do for the rest of the season. So it's almost like you get to kind of reset, and have almost a new season again, even after one game, as strange as that sounds, just because of, how the schedule falls. And we actually have 2 weeks of preparation to get ready for Ike. And so a lot of things that maybe we didn't have time to necessarily do, when we first started fall camp, because we had to try to rush and get ready for 0 week, we're kind of able to backtrack a little bit more and spend more individual time with our positions, more individual time on our schemes, and really break down plays on both sides of the ball, offensively, defensively, and special teams, and feel like we could teach a lot better this week, and we were able to do that. And so practices have been a little bit shorter. They've been a little bit more intentional with, lighter. We haven't gone pads. We've just gone helmets because we want our guys to just really, be able to teach and not feel rushed in our assignments. Going into this week, Coach Stallard, what do you think's kind of benefited us maybe this week of having a bye week?
Yeah, I think you're able to kind of slow it down and kind of that ticking clock of a Friday night isn't there. And so we're able, like you said, slow things down, really get to the specifics of plays.
Right.
We did play a really clean game the other night, but there's some areas that we can clean up even more.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, and so it's been really beneficial. A lot of people are like, in a perfect world, a lot of coaches will like to have, obviously if the listeners and viewers know, like the fourth week of the season is when we start district play.
Right.
Those are ones that count towards playoff implications, to have playoff implications and things like that. But really, I like playing the 0 week than having a bye. Because it's kind of like, okay, a lot of times during the season you find yourself like Coach mentioned, you may be in the middle of a season on that Monday, and you're trying to correct mistakes, but you're also trying to get ready for your opponent too.
Right. Yes.
And so it's always kind of that, like you said, the ticking clock where you're like, man, I have to, we got to clean some things up, but we also have to get ready maybe for our next Friday's opponent. And, right now we don't really have that pressure. We kind of felt like we had 2 weeks to kind of like clean up some stuff even more, teach some concepts better, and get ready for the season as a whole, which has been real beneficial to us.
All right. And so, Coach Stallard, maybe people don't know where you're coming from, a little brief background of where you've been recently before you stopped here at Choctaw.
Yep. I grew up in Cleveland, Oklahoma. It's close to Tulsa. From there, I went to college at Oklahoma Baptist University down the street in Shawnee. After there, I coached there for 3 years after playing. Then actually went back to my hometown, coached for 2 more years, and then now I'm in Choctaw, Oklahoma.
All right.
We kind of joke, we have a lot of our staff is a lot of OBU ties, and almost have the whole, the whole football team and coaching staff. Our staff is a great group of guys and really high character, and we have a lot of fun with them in there.
Oh yeah, for sure. So so one thing that he may not know is one of the most important things to me, and I've tried to get Mr. James to do it for when we interview, is how well do they do on camera.
Sure.
And so with homecoming coming up, kids have already been asking me, what's the homecoming video this year? Right. And it's like, okay, so as if you've ever watched one,
are you gonna break it right now?
Coach, I'm not telling you anything about it.
No,
we're holding it.
Getting excited.
Yeah,
there.
we're gonna hold it back, but we just want to know acting experience. Do you have some good acting experience that you're ready to take to the role that you're going to play here in a couple of weeks?
I would say absolutely none at this point.
Okay,
but there's a first for everything, I guess, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's simple. It's fun.
Our whole staff is full of thespians.
Yes.
Excellent actors.
Yeah, I mean,
award winning. So
and if you don't know, we have one of the most renowned drama departments in the state, and so you will be critiqued by Mary Jane Burton.
Yeah, you don't want to be critiqued by, and I hope she's never critiqued me.
But she'll tell me, she's like, wow, those guys are really good.
Oh, good.
And so
awesome. Yeah.
And she'd love to get you on stage sometime. So just be aware of that in your performance that could happen.
Yeah, you are being judged by
awesome. Great.
An expert.
I might find a new career path down the road.
You never know. Yeah. I mean, and ironically, you say that. I've been in a feature film, and it's not out released yet, but Coach Vinzer's been in the movie. Coach Gilbert's been in the movie. So they're actually in a feature film that I was in, that I brought him into. So, Coach was on the list. It just happened to be –
cut me.
Yeah, it happened to be a little farther away, and time didn't work. But otherwise, he was ready to go in as well. And Coach Bryant, another one that – So we do, this could lead to something very
something
cool.
Big.
Yeah.
Exactly. Something big.
Yeah, and just to bring up, we did talk a little movies today with Mr. Crowder in our podcast. So I'm not going to give my answers up because I don't want to sway anything that you say. And Mr. James is there, but we were talking about James Bond. So we ran down our favorite James Bond actor, who was the best James Bond. What was the best James Bond film? Bond girl, and also Bond villain. So if you're any James Bond things that that you watched that you're like, oh, I love this James Bond, and
I mentioned this earlier. I think that Mr. James would actually be the best James Bond.
Yeah, he would be a good one.
He has like a certain James Bond kind of aura about him. It looks like you can just kind of see him, possibly being, like some kind of secret agent, also in the principal, and kind of has that look to him that most Bond.
He kind of reminds me of Pierce Brosnan.
Very classy. Yeah, very classy guy, and so I could totally see that.
Yeah,
James Bond. That's tough. That's tough. I enjoy him because there's some movies you kind of just like you just watch. You don't have to think too much about. And I like those movies sometimes when you kind of just get to watch them and not have to like really like just kind of zone out and watch it, and they're fun and only good action, all those kind of things. I thought and I don't know why his name's slipping me, but like the most recent one I thought did a
Daniel
good
Craig.
job. Yeah, I thought Daniel Craig was a good Bond guy.
Yeah,
I enjoyed those, and are they making any new ones or any new ones coming out?
May 2020. They'll have the 25th James Bond movie.
Who's the star?
Daniel Craig is James Bond, but now there's a new 007.
Okay.
So he's retired.
I got you.
007
passing the torch.
Yeah, and it's a woman.
Okay.
So it's a female
All right,
agent.
That's neat little spin to it.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite James Bond villain?
Who'd you say the guy is? That's the
new one?
Yeah, the guy that's recently been
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig. Okay, probably him because he got to jump out of a plane at the Olympics with like the torch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in the last Olympics. So that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, so
that's cool. And I like the one. I liked when they did like the little parkour one. You know, where they're like jumping off of like stuff and the little buildings and like ricocheting around and all that. It's like the one where I think it was the most recent one where they're like at the very beginning. And they're running around. They're like, the dude's like doing all kinds of flips and stuff, like getting out of the building and all that. Like I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, I thought that was pretty neat.
All right, and Bond Girl.
Bond Girl, I'll stay away from that. Yeah, I'll stay away from that. I don't know. But yeah,
or Bond villain. And the bad guys that stick out.
Bond villain. I like it, and I'm so bad at this, Adam. So I'm sorry. I'm not gonna know who they are. But viewers and listeners at home, I apologize. But the guy that I thought the media guy is one of Pierce Brosnan's one where he's like.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, that was like kind of interesting, just because like it's almost kind of like it really is almost coming true.
Yeah.
With like in 2019 where the media kind of controls everything, and like when you control the news, you control public opinion and all that kind of stuff. And I can't remember the guy's name, the villain, but I said that was kind of interesting. Interesting spin.
I'll have to check that one up and see who that was.
Yeah, you're supposed to be the expert here. I'm just a novice. Like I don't know, but no, I like that one. I thought it was pretty cool.
All right. So any thoughts for next week, Lot Nike? I mean, we'll have another chance at a show, so.
Right.
We can hold it off then.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Maybe for Coach.
Offensively, like I said, all the stuff we've kind of been working and slowing down this week, I would like to see those become, show up in games the time we put into it. And I think we have a very high chance of that happening.
All right. Okay.
And I don't know if you know, but Coach Stoller's nickname is the Wizard.
The Wizard?
Yeah, the Wizard. And so my question for Coach would be, if you're a wizard, like what kind of wizard would you be? Would you be one that are you like casting spells? Like, are you like evil, or like what, like kind of give me like what is your look? Do you have like a long beard?
Like
what do you a staff? Like what do you have going on?
I would say definitely a long beard. I'd have to have the hood on at all times. You see my play call sheet. It's like different potions and different things. Yeah,
it looks like the menu at Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah,
I've never seen that. It's
I'd have to say the evil one. When you're when we're not, we're kicking on side every time, going for two, not punting. Like you got to have bad intentions to do that kind of stuff.
That is true. So maybe the staff just you don't have a look, but you just like it just because it kind of looks
exactly.
Cool. Exactly. Maybe like a little skull on top of it.
That would be the best.
And what do you do on a Friday night when you're not playing a game?
Yeah, well, we're actually going to another game.
That's what I figured.
That's what we end up doing. And he actually went to one last night, and we'll go to one tonight, and and all that. So it's football season. It's fun. You enjoy it. It does feel really strange not having one. But on the same token, it's guaranteed to get a win tonight, and
that's always good.
And a little bit less stressful than most Friday nights. So it'd be kind of nice.
All right. Okay. So we'll see you next week. And then actually get to play a game.
Yeah. We'll preview Ike and talk. You said we'll bring in Coach Bryant.
Yep.
Preview Ike and talk about the defensive side of the ball, and look forward to having him on.
Yep. Okay.
See you next week.
All right. Well, thanks, coaches. That was fun. Little segment. Lots of Coach Stallard, the offensive coordinator, was working his magic as the wizardry we talked about. But let's kind of wrap things up for the week. Really, we have a marching band segment that we're going to put up on our YouTube channel next week. We're working on that. We just had the interviews yesterday, a lot of the footage. Make sure we get the music, and we'll put that up on the air. So other than that, as far as the fine arts goes, it's just still getting underway with working on their different choir concerts, drama plays, band competitions, and all that kind of stuff. So not much else going on around that.
All right. This brings us to the Tailgater/Roadtrip segment. There's not really a game going on right now. I will say last week I did enjoy some fine Jim's fried chicken and some sides and some unsweet tea. Delicious. Hit the spot. Got me ready for the game. I do know next week we have a special Tailgater segment, road trip segment, where we'll feature a very unique restaurant in Oklahoma. a small town that not many people know about, and we'll talk all about that in our, what we're going to experience. And we'll talk all about Lawton and all the fineries and traditions of Lawton next week. So we got a lot coming up on that. This week, I guess, I'm going to eat out of my fridge because
I think maybe we'll see and Carl Albert play each other. Maybe.
That's true, and we do have passes, so we could go.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. I'll skip it.
Okay.
That game next week's on a Thursday.
It is on Thursday.
On Thursday, just a reminder for everybody. And school is in session on Friday, so we'll just make sure everybody knows that as well. Because Lawton is a little bit of a trip. But I will say that, again, in the same way, that same crowd that we had up here on Friday night, I hope that we take just as many students down there for that game on Thursday night, and I think we will. And hopefully come out with another win, and the Yellow Jackets can start the season at 2-0 and be off to a great start. I think it was not last year, but the year before, we started off 4-0, which was the most wins starting the season since 1983, I think, something along those lines. So, starting off 2-0 in 6A is exciting, and it's been fun to watch this team and watch them perform. So, be a great game down at Lawton Night.
Yep,
it will be good.
Which will be at Cameron.
Since we have you on the mic, Mr. James.
Yes, sir.
What is your most memorable pregame meal?
Oh, I think probably one of the things that I love the Jim's chicken, like you said. I mean, the Jim's that's down there, that stuff is just incredible. Although the chicken is something to really talk about, I think that you should never shy away from their baked beans, because they've got the best baked beans in eastern Oklahoma County. Okay. So when you're down there with the chicken, you need to get some mac and cheese, but don't leave out their baked beans. But I still remember the one of the first, this was 2007, coming down for a game, stopping with some people at Spencer's, and went to Spencer's and had a big rib meal and barbecue. And it just seemed very Choctaw footballish to stop by Spencer's on the way and have some ribs. So that was really good, really good.
We'll probably talk to. We're going to be in Westfall in a few weeks or next week. Hopefully,
I'm waiting to hear.
We're trying to be in
soon.
Westfall.
Yeah.
I know that they just had a Spencer's night last
Yes.
night in Westfall. So that's part of their tradition too. So that is a Choctaw tradition for sure.
It is. Yeah, it is.
For sure.
Yeah. And then of course road trips. You can go. You can really stretch out there. Salisaw, there's Wild Horse Barbecue out there. There's some good places down around McAllister, Pete's Place, and some of the Italian food down there. Of course, you guys going down to Lawton, they've got a couple of places down there, which I won't divulge, but I have a feeling you guys will enjoy.
Yeah. Divulge your suggestions, because we have a plan.
Well, I think it's the same one that Mr. Dooley's probably talking about.
Okay.
So I'll save
feature
that for
next
him,
week.
because it is a cool little place and kind
cool
of a small
place,
town right around there, and a lot of fun.
That is one of the places I hang out a lot, just because of my in-laws.
Yeah.
So,
Mr. Bass, what about yourself? You got a favorite pregame meal?
It doesn't
ritual?
matter. Food is food, and free is always
Warm.
best. That's always
Warm
my
food.
choice of food is free. But I can eat anything in abundance. So
well, back in your coaching days, my favorite pregame meal, because you getting all pumped up for it, and so you don't want spicy. Was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, white meat, and then blue Gatorade. Not white meat. That's gross. Peanut butter jelly sandwich with white bread.
White bread. Okay.
White bread.
I was confused because turkey, is a delicious meat.
It is.
But mixed with peanut butter.
No.
I don't know the outcome.
But it's just something,
I don't know the outcome.
Something simple like
Throw
that.
some pickles on that.
I
don't
don't remember much from the pregame coaching days. It was just I didn't care what I eat. As long as the kids played well, I didn't care what they ate.
I did, and I did this all the way back. Even when I used to play athletics, it was toast with peanut butter and then with honey on top.
See, yeah.
And then you cut it down kind of angle. You got to cut an angle. You can't just you can't eat
the whole
that as a
thing,
piece of bread, because it's honey. And honey gets everywhere, and then it's on your hands, then it's on your face.
Well, if you're a wide receiver, that's a great way to.
And although when you're playing
that
receiver, it does help if you're playing receiver. That really does.
Got to get that stickum. Yeah,
so you do. But you got to cut it on the diagonal. That way you can take an appropriate, polite, sophisticated bite of the sandwich, rather than just shove the whole slice of white bread into your mouth.
Yeah,
goes
gotta
everywhere.
be sophisticated.
It's not what James Bond. It's not how James Bond
no.
would eat his peanut butter and honey
cut,
sandwich.
not
I wish I could claim.
Cut it, not square it.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
I wish I could
Cut, not
claim
square.
sophistication, but usually it was 1 or 2 bites and just
and it's gone.
shoving it in and then washing it down with some blue Gatorade and then out. Let's go.
You know, ESPN's they did a story on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and NBA players. And Whole Foods, I know like Whole Foods used to cater the Thunder, and they used to make a gourmet PB&J because it's such a huge hit in the NBA. They really request like these really nice PB&J sandwiches, which sports, I think scientists will tell you that it is a good meal before a game. You have some protein and you get some of the fast or the quick carbohydrates, and so I think it's probably a good choice.
Athletes out there,
I just liked it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that concludes our segment here. We don't really have any comments to go over. We just started. We'd love some comments. If you could give it at CHS Jacket Guys, just tweet us at that. Give us some comments, and we'll talk about it. Shout outs. We'd like to know when homecomings are coming up. You know, we got all kinds of homecoming games. We got our homecoming game, but every little league sport also has a homecoming game. We got all kinds of stuff. So let us know. We'll talk about it. You know, whatever you want. We want this to be about all of Choctaw, not just the high school. This is not just for 2 or 3 students. This is for all of Choctaw, the adults, students. We want a little bit for everybody. So that's what we want to do in comments. And so upcoming next week, we talked about, we got the road trip. We talked about we're going to have a special segment on our tailgating road trip. We got some other things coming up, I'm sure. What else have we got coming up?
So much
There's
going on.
A lot. There's a lot. Here before long, you'll be into the Crucible. It won't be too long before that's right around the corner. We've got a lot going on, obviously, at the high school, ACT, national registration dates. We've got another chat coming up not too far in the future, other athletics, obviously. So there's always something going on, something for everybody up at the high school.
I mean, full week. If you're bored, you're doing it wrong.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
So
absolutely.
I think that's about wraps it up. I would like to thank you as always, Mr. Bass, and thank you, Mr. James. And until next time, stay classy, Choctaw.
All right. Thank you.